Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about something that seems, well, pretty basic at first glance. What happens when you make a shape bigger? But trust me, the math behind it has some seriously surprising consequences. It's way more fascinating than you might think.
All right, let's kick things off with a little puzzle. Imagine you've got two vases, right? They look exactly the same, they're the same shape, but one's just taller. So here's the question. How much more water can that bigger one actually hold? Is it just a little more or a lot more? Is it as simple as just looking at the height, or is there something else at play here?
Okay, let's get specific so we can really dig into this. Say our small vase is 30 centimeters tall, and we know it holds 800 milliliters of water. Now, its bigger sibling, which is a mathematically similar vase, and that word's important, is 45 centimeters tall. So what's its volume? By the time we're done here, you'll know exactly how to figure that out, and I'm betting the answer isn't what you expect.
But before we can solve that, we gotta lay down some groundwork, make sure we're all on the same page with the lingo. This is the foundation for everything else to click into place.
That keyword I just mentioned? Similar. Now, in everyday life, similar just means, kind of the same. But in math, it's super precise. It means the shapes are perfect scale models of each other. Like every single angle matches up perfectly, and all the sides have been stretched or shrunk by the exact same amount.
And here's a great simple example of that. We've got two cylinders, A and B, and we're told they're mathematically similar. We can see the height of B is twice the height of A. Well, because they're similar, that's not the whole story. It also means the radius of B has to be twice the radius of A. Every single length measurement gets scaled up by that same factor.
And that multiplier, it's got a special name, the length scale factor. We're just going to call it K to keep things simple. Think of K as the secret code that links the small shape to the big one. You take any length on the small shape, multiply it by K, and boom, you've got the matching length on the big one.
Okay, you ready? This is the core rule. This is the big aha moment. There's this incredibly simple, almost elegant rule that connects our length scale factor K to what happens with area and volume. And I'm serious, once you get this, you'll see it everywhere.
This cube right here shows it perfectly. Just look at this. Let's say we scale up the length of a side by a factor of 3. You'd think the area gets 3 times bigger, right? Nope, it actually gets 3 squared. That's 9 times bigger. And the volume, man, the volume just explodes. It gets bigger by 3 cubed. That's 27 times the original volume. Crazy, right?
So here's the takeaway, the absolute key to all of this. If your length scales by K, your area always scales by K squared. And your volume, that always scales by K cubed. This simple relationship is called the square cube law, and it's literally the secret to solving every single one of these problems. And we can boil this whole thing down to a super easy 3-step method. Step 1, no matter what, you always find K, the length scale factor, first. That's your starting point. Step 2, if they're asking about area, just square that K. Step 3, if they're asking about volume, you just cube it. That's it. That's the whole playbook.
Okay, enough theory. Let's put this thing to the test. The best way to really see how powerful this little rule is to try it out on a couple of examples. Let's do it.
All right, first problem. We're told the height ratio, which remember is just a length ratio, is 3 to 5. Cool. So what's the ratio of their surface areas? Well, our rule says we just square the lengths. So 3 squared is 9, 5 squared is 25. The area ratio is 9 to 25. Simple. What about the volume? We just cube the length ratio. 3 cubed is 27, 5 cubed is 125. So the volume ratio is 27 to 125. See how easy that is once you know the rule?
Okay, that was pretty straightforward. But what if they try to trick you? What if they give you the volume ratio and ask you to work backwards to find the height or area ratios? Now, this might look a little harder, but it's really not. We just run our 3-step process in reverse. So, step 1 is just figuring out what we've got. They've given us the volume ratio, 27 to 1,000. Now, we know from our rule that the volume ratio is the same as K cubed. Okay, so if the volume ratio is K cubed, how do we get back to just K, the length ratio? We do the opposite of cubing a number. We take the cube root. So the cube root of 27 is 3, and the cube root of 1,000 is 10. And there you have it. Just like that, we found our length ratio, 3 to 10.
And now that we have the magic number, that length ratio, finding the area ratio is a piece of cake. We just go forward again with our rule and square it. 3 squared is 9, 10 squared is 100. So our final answer for the area ratio is 9 to 100. It works perfectly, forwards and backwards.
So yeah, this is obviously a really neat trick for your math class. But the reason this is so important to understand is that it's not just a math trick. This is a fundamental principle that actually governs how stuff works in the real world.
Seriously, you see the square-cube law in action all over the place. It's the reason maps and architectural blueprints even work. It lets engineers build a small model and know exactly how the real massive building will behave. It's what movie special effects artists have to deal with when they're designing a giant kaiju monster. They have to make sure it can move believably based on these physical laws. It's just a basic rule of our universe.
Which leads me to one last really cool thought to leave you with. Think about it. When something gets bigger, its volume, and therefore its weight, grows by the cube of the scale factor. But the strength of its legs? That's based on their area, so it only grows by the square. So, what if an ant suddenly grew to be the size of a skyscraper? Could its legs even support its own body? The square-cube law gives us a pretty clear and kind of dramatic answer to that one. Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.